Let me ask you something uncomfortable. You spend your time watching your back, scanning the room for threats, calculating who can be trusted and who can't. You build walls, you stay alert, you protect yourself from the outside world. But what if I told you that the most dangerous person in your life isn't out there? What if the one who has been quietly sabotaging you, leaking your secrets, handing your enemies exactly what they need, is you? Not your rivals. Not your competition. Not the colleague who smiles at your face and schemes behind your back. Your own mouth. Right now, in this very moment, you are bleeding. Every unnecessary word you speak is a drop of power leaving your body. Every time you explain yourself to someone who didn't ask, every time you fill an awkward silence, every time you react when you should have stayed still, you are handing over the map to your own mind. Free of charge. No questions asked? You think words are harmless. You think they dissolve into the air the moment they leave your lips. They don't. In a world of screenshots, recordings, and people with very long memories, your words don't disappear. They accumulate. They get stored, filed, and weaponized, sometimes years later, by people you considered friends. Machiavelli understood this 5 centuries ago. He wrote that men are not destroyed by what they don't know. They are destroyed by what they say. The lion is powerful, but he cannot escape the trap. The fox is clever, but he cannot fight the wolf. The one who masters their mouth, however, they become the trap. They become the wolf. Most people go through their entire lives as open books, genuinely confused about why they keep getting manipulated, outmaneuvered, and drained. They wonder why they work so hard and still lose ground. The answer is almost always the same. They talk too much. Today, we are going to change that. We are going to dissect 7 specific moments, situations you encounter every single day, where your mouth quietly destroys you. These aren't dramatic, obvious mistakes. They are subtle, psychological traps that are almost invisible until you know how to spot them. Once you see them, you cannot unsee them. Trap number 1. The silence vacuum. This is the most elegant trap ever designed, and it catches the smartest people most often. Picture this. You're in a negotiation. A meeting. A first date. A conversation with someone whose opinion matters to you. Things are going well. And then silence. The conversation simply stops, and the air goes still. For most people, this silence feels like standing on the edge of a cliff. The brain, wired for social survival, interprets it as a warning signal. Something is wrong. They're bored. They're judging you. Fix this. Now. So you talk. You add a detail you didn't need to add. You soften a position you should have held. You crack a joke to release the tension. You offer a concession you hadn't planned on offering. And in the space of 10 seconds, you have lost something you didn't even realize you were holding. Here is the truth that nobody teaches you. The person who breaks the silence first is the person with the least power. Police interrogators have known this for decades. So have therapists, experienced negotiators, and every truly dangerous person you have ever sat across from. They don't fill the silence. They use it. They let it grow heavy and uncomfortable and unbearable, and then they simply wait. Because they know that you will eventually break, and when you do, you will say far more than you intended. Silence is not emptiness. Silence is a mirror. And when you refuse to break it, you force the other person to look into that mirror. Most people cannot stand what they see there. So they start talking. And when they talk, they reveal everything. Next time the conversation dies, don't resuscitate it. Sit in it. Let it breathe. Watch what happens to the person across from you. You'll be amazed what people will tell you just to make the quiet stop. Trap number 2. The victory lap. Success is a drug. A genuinely intoxicating, judgment-destroying drug. You close the deal. You get the result. You figure out the angle nobody else saw. And the first thing your brain screams at you is, tell someone. You want witnesses. You want the applause. You want to walk someone through every move you made and watch their eyes widen with admiration. So you do. You go to dinner, or you post online, or you pull someone aside at the office. You break down the strategy. You explain the mechanism. You shine a spotlight directly on your own intelligence. You think you're building a reputation. What you're actually doing is educating your competition and painting a target on your back. The moment you explain how you won, you make it impossible to win that way again. You've handed out the manual. Worse, you've triggered something far more dangerous than competition. You've triggered envy. Envy is invisible. It wears a smile. It clicks like, raises a glass, offers congratulations. And underneath all of that, it quietly begins to work against you. Not loudly, not obviously, but patiently, waiting for the moment you slip. The most powerful people celebrate in private. When asked how they did it, they say luck or hard work and give you nothing. They understand that being underestimated is not a weakness, it is a strategy. It is armor. Let people think you stumbled into success. While they're busy dismissing you, you're already building the next win. The magic only works while the trick is hidden. The moment you explain it, the magic dies, and the audience turns hostile. Trap number 3. The anger response. There is a myth that anger equals strength. We've seen it in every movie ever made. The hero loses control, delivers the furious monologue, smashes something, and suddenly everyone in the room respects them. In reality, the moment you lose your temper, you lose the room. Anger is not power. Anger is a leak. It is the most expensive emotional response you can have, because it costs you everything while giving you nothing. When someone provokes you, insults you, undermines you, challenges you in front of others, your nervous system lights up. The rational part of your brain goes offline. All you want is to hurt them back, to prove you aren't weak, to make them feel what you're feeling. So you explode. You send the message. You raise your voice. You list every grievance you've been holding. And in that moment you become their puppet. If someone can hijack your emotional state with a few words, they own you. They have the remote control to your nervous system. All they have to do is press the right button, and you dance. Worse, when you show anger, you draw a detailed map of your vulnerabilities. You show the world exactly what you care about too much, exactly where to push to make you unstable. To a calm strategist sitting across from you, your rage is not intimidating. It is useful information. The most powerful response to a provocation is not a scream. It is a pause. A slow, steady look. A quiet question, "Are you finished?" That is dominance. That is the response of someone whose inner world cannot be touched by someone else's noise. When you refuse to react, you deny them the reaction they were hunting for. You starve their chaos. And you force them to watch themselves look small in the silence. He who angers you conquers you. Don't be conquered. Trap number 4. The liquid confession. There is a very specific kind of betrayal that only happens after the second drink. The lights are low. The atmosphere is warm. Your guard, which you've been holding up all day, finally relaxes. And in that warm, artificial intimacy, your mouth opens and things come out that were never meant to leave your head. I actually can't stand my boss. I've been thinking about leaving. My relationship is in trouble. I have this secret fear that I'm not as good as everyone thinks. You believe you're building trust. You believe you're being real, being human, creating connection. What you're actually doing is creating leverage. The colleague sitting across from you tonight is the same colleague competing for your promotion tomorrow. The friend you're confiding in has their own interests, their own fears, their own moments of weakness, and when those moments come, they will reach for whatever is closest to protect themselves. That might be you. Machiavelli wrote that men are fickle, driven by self-interest, and to rely on their silence is madness. He wasn't being cynical. He was being accurate. The most magnetic people in any room appear completely open. They laugh, they engage, they make you feel seen. But when you leave, you realize you know nothing real about them. They gave you their energy, but they kept their information. Be that person. Listen. Collect. Give nothing away. When you wake up clear-headed the next morning, you want to have two things: your dignity, and a quiet understanding of what other people revealed. Not the other way around. Trap number 5. The defense mechanism. Someone questions a decision you made. Someone implies you were wrong. Someone gives you a look that suggests they doubt you. And immediately, the explanation machine starts up. Well, see, what happened was, I didn't get the email, and the traffic was terrible, and I was actually trying to do this other thing, and if you think about it from my perspective. Stop. Every word of that explanation is costing you status. There is a French proverb that Machiavelli would have appreciated. Que s'excuse, s'accuse. He who excuses himself, accuses himself. The more you explain, the more you validate the other person's right to judge you. You step into the frame they've built, the one where they are the authority, and you are the one on trial, and you start performing for their verdict. High-status people don't do this. If there was a mistake, that was an error. It won't happen again. Full stop. No story, no because, no context that nobody asked for. If the accusation is false, state the truth once, clearly, and let it stand. The innocent don't need to drown the room in words. Drowning the room in words looks like panic. And panic looks like guilt. Your reputation is built on the perception of strength, not the accumulation of sympathy. Sympathy might get you fed, but it will never get you followed. Learn to let your silence carry the weight. Why did you make that call? Because I determined it was the right one. End of sentence. Feel the space that creates. That space is not emptiness. That space is respect. Trap number 6. The competence trap. You're good at what you do. You see things others miss. And when you watch someone struggle with a problem you could solve in 30 seconds, everything in you wants to step in and fix it. Don't. Not because you're wrong, but because unsolicited help is experienced as an attack. When you correct someone who didn't ask to be corrected, especially in front of others, you are not helping them. You are publicly marking them as inferior. They might thank you. They will not forgive you. Machiavelli knew that vanity is one of the most powerful forces in human nature. Bruise someone's ego, even gently, even with good intentions, and you have made an enemy who will wait, patiently and quietly, for the opportunity to return the favor. But there's a second dimension to this trap that's even more costly in the long run. When you give your expertise away freely and constantly, you destroy its value. You become the person who fixes things, reliable, useful, and completely taken for granted. You become the mechanic, not the architect. The person who cleans up messes, not the person who shapes the vision. The move that nobody teaches you, sometimes, let it break. Wait for the ask. When someone comes to you, humbled, having already tried everything they know, that is when you speak. That is when your words carry real weight. That is when you can name your terms. Your intelligence is a blade. Keep it sheathed until the moment it matters. Trap number 7. The promise prison. You're under pressure. Someone wants something from you, a commitment, a guarantee, a piece of your future. The tension in the room is building. And your mouth, searching desperately for a way to make the discomfort stop, produces 2 words. I promise. You have just built a cage around your future self. Every promise you make is an open debt. It sits in the back of your mind, draining energy, creating low-level anxiety that never fully goes away. And when life shifts, as it always does, and you cannot deliver, you don't just lose the thing you promised. You lose something far more valuable. Your word. Machiavelli's most ruthless observation was this: power rests entirely on reputation, and reputation rests entirely on whether your word means something. The moment people learn that your promises are elastic, that they bend under pressure, that they expire when convenient, you become someone to be managed, not trusted. Someone to be worked around, not followed. The Machiavellian approach is almost the opposite of what most people do. Be stingy with commitments. Be slow to promise. Protect your flexibility like it is the most valuable thing you own, because it is. I'm not sure. Let me check. I'll do my best, but I can't guarantee it. These phrases don't make you seem weak. They make you seem serious. They signal that when you do say yes, it means something real. Be the person whose yes is rare enough to be worth something. Because a yes that comes easily is worth nothing at all. The architecture of your own power. Look at these 7 traps again. The silence vacuum. The victory lap. The anger response. The liquid confession. The defense mechanism. The competence trap. The promise prison. These are not random bad habits. They are a system, a set of deeply conditioned reflexes that were designed to keep you open, readable, and easy to manage. Society tells you to share. Algorithms reward you for broadcasting. Culture tells you that silence is suspicious and openness is virtue. But the people who actually accumulate real, lasting power operate by a completely different set of rules. They speak only when their words improve their position. They treat silence not as emptiness, but as a weapon. They have understood something that most people spend their entire lives missing. The less people know about you, the more powerful you become. Not because secrecy is evil, but because mystery creates space. And in that space, people project their own fears and desires. They build a version of you that is larger, more deliberate, more formidable than you might actually be. They make you into a monument, not because of what you said, but because of what you refused to say. Your mouth is the gate to your mind. And right now, that gate is wide open. Close it. Choose your words like you choose your battles. Carefully, deliberately, and only when it is worth the cost. Let them wonder. Let them guess. Let them speculate. In the silence you keep, they will find everything they were looking for. And you will have given them nothing at all.